Yo guys, Axon back with another video today, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. As you can see, I'm at the top of the screen because we're going to be doing a tier list. Now, this ain't any regular old tier list where, I just rank who's the best character, who's the worst character. It's going to be a different tier list. This tier list is who needs a buff. Now, as you can see, there is a couple categories than just who needs a buff, right? The top one is they just need a buff. They need a buff because they're not good enough in this game. They just need a buff, right? Sometimes we might have a Diluc, someone like him, who's like, they're good, but giving them a buff can bring them to the next step, right? A character who just needs artifacts, or like, they're just a good character, but given the right artifacts, they become even better, right? Who just needs new supports, if they're good DPS, but they just don't have supports. Who needs a new DPS? Let's say they're good support, but they don't have any DPSs, right? They're fine. That means they don't need anything. They're just already good. Lost cause, that means there is no buff in the game that can make them good. They're just a lost cause, and we should give up on them. So those are the guidelines for this video. Now we're gonna get into it, and of course, this is all my opinion. I know I'm gonna have hate for people who says, "Oh, that person doesn't need a buff. They're already good how they are," right? I'm just trying to give my opinion, and I think these characters need a buff, and so on and so forth, right? Starting off with the Traveler, I think the Traveler's fine. He'd be the best character in the game, and that's just my opinion, because, like, why would you want the most OP character as your first character? I feel like that just kind of takes the fun out of, like, gacha games, but that's just my opinion. Obviously, you have, like, Freight Ground Order, who, like, your free servant is, like, one of the best characters in the game, but I feel like just having an OP Traveler will just kind of negate it. I don't think the Traveler's bad, but I just think he's fine being, like, mid. That's how I feel. I know others might feel differently. Albedo, I think he's pretty good how he is, but I think maybe if he gets a new DPS, I think he'd be better. Obviously, Artaka Ito is kind of the only GOTPS. I think if someone can use Albedo's skills a little more, I think he'd better. I think he just needs a new DPS, and he will be fine. Right, next up, Amber. Let's save Amber for a little later, because I have a lot to say on Amber. Ayaka, I think she's fine. One of the best characters in the game. I don't think she really needs any characters. I don't think she needs any new supports to be good. Barbara, I think Barbara just needs new artifacts. That's what I think Barbara needs. Obviously, we got the healing artifact that does damage, but I think you know what? Barbara in general just needs a buff. I think just needs a buff. At first I thought artifacts, but I think we already kind of have decent healing artifacts. I think she just more needs a buff. She needs to do more than just heal. Next up, Beto. I should add a Raiden category, like make her work with Raiden, but maybe just a new DPS or new supports. One of these two. They're kind of just the same, but probably new supports to help her out. If Raiden worked with her, maybe she'd be a little bit better, but of course, that's an issue. But Beto, she just needs some new supports because she is a main DPS herself, or you can call her a burst DPS, whatever we want to call her, but she's usually a DPS. Bennett, I think Bennett's fine. I think Bennett would never get old. Just his percentages of attack boost is just insane, unless they give someone who gives you like 100% attack boost or like 200% attack boost and some crazy stuff like that. That's the only way Bennett gets surpassed, but Bennett will always be one of the best characters in the game. Chongyun, where would I even put Chongyun? I honestly think Chongyun is either a lost cause or needs a buff, because I can't even think what buff to give Chongyun to make him good. Barbara, give her more damage. That's all I could see. Barbara getting better, or just give her better heals. But Chongyun, like, what would they change? More damage? But I don't think anyone. I think Chongyun is my first lost cause. I can't think of any buff that they give him where I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm using Chongyun now, because he doesn't really give anything. That's how I feel. So I'm just gonna put him at lost cause. I don't think there's really a buff I can think of besides like giving him more damage. But like giving him more damage, I don't think he'd be used that much either way. Diluc definitely needs a buff. His scaling is super low. Give him more like damage numbers up, and he's good. Better scaling and stuff like that. Diona, I think she's fine. She's a really good character. She heals, cryo, shields. I think she's one of the good characters who just doesn't need a buff in this game, right? Next up, Fischl. I think Fischl just needs new artifacts. I feel like if you give Fischl new artifacts, I think she could be better than what she is in the game. Obviously, I think Fischl is like a top 20 character in the game, but I feel like if they release new artifacts, she could even be better because she already her stuff already makes sense. Like if they give her like a totem thing where it's like specifically designed around like, oh, you put an object on the field and it just increases the damage, right? Like more damage she is off field and stuff like that. I don't know. I can't really think of like the idea, but maybe you get a higher percentage of the characters off field for damage, so the bird does more damage, because like most of the time Fischl's not even on field. But I feel like if Fischl got a new artifact set, she'd be even better. Ganyu, where would I go? Ganyu, I just think they're fine. Obviously, I think supports might help her out a little bit, but I don't think there's really any like support I can think of that make her way better than what she is. Next up, Hu Tao. I think new supports. She just needs better supports. Obviously, we have Toma, we have Zhongli, we have Xingqiu, and we have like who else? Let's think. I can't really think of anyone else. But those are pretty much her dedicated supports. I think if she just had more like batteries, because like right now the only battery for like Hu Tao is Bennett and Toma, and those are like, well, Bennett's like one character that you would want to use on any other team than just Hu Tao, and Toma is just like a very niche character. Like a lot of people don't use Toma, so I think if she had more dedicated batteries, she could be better than what she is. She just needs better supports in my opinion. Jean, a new artifact set. I feel like Jean just needs a new artifact set. I think she's kind of getting outdated. That's just my opinion, but I feel like if you give her a new artifact set, it kind of boosts her up a little bit more. Kaya, what would I even put for Kaya? I think Kaya just needs a buff. Kaya is just like, he is outdated as well. He needs a new buff. I think he's still good. Maybe like above average, but I don't think he's that good. He just needs a buff, increases damage, and he'd be good. Keqing, new artifact set. Yeah, just a new. No, she needs a buff as well. Keqing, I can't think of an artifact set that would make her too good. I think she just needs more damage, in my opinion, for people to use her about more. Klee, what would I even think of Klee? I think Klee needs new supports. That's the only thing I could think of. I think her damage is fine, but she just needs new supports. Lisa just needs a buff. You know what? Lisa's a lost cause, not gonna lie. Lisa, like, I can't even think of a buff that make Lisa good, because we have so many good electro characters like Fischl, like Beto, like what's it called, Raiden. I don't think of a scenario where I could use Lisa. I think Lisa is another lost cause. We already ranked the traveler, so we can just put her at the end here. Mona, new DPSs to help her out. Mona is good, but I feel like there's not like a DPS where you'd be like, oh yeah, Mona is the best support for her. So if we have a DPS that their best support is Mona, Mona would get a lot used more and she'd be more valuable. Ningguang, a new artifact set probably. Ningguang's good damage and all that, but you know, I think a new artifact set would help her out a bit. Noelle, I think Noelle's fine. She needs new supports. That's all she needs. Noelle, I think she has the damage, because we got that new artifact set, so I don't think we need a new artifact set for her. She just needs new supports, because all we have is for Noelle is like what, Goro, and that's it. Goro is one of like the best GeoDP supports, I mean, in the game. So obviously he's a plus for any Geo character, but I feel like if we had more Geo supports, she'd definitely be better. Chi-Chi, where would I even put Chi-Chi? We got our new artifacts there. What buff would help her? I think she is a lost cause. Well, yeah, I think she's a lost cause. Like, I don't think there's any buff that can make her relevant. Because I use Chi-Chi. Like, don't get me wrong, I use Chi-Chi, but I only use her for like, what's it called? Cryo Shred. Not Cryo Shred, what's it called? Cryo Shatter. I forgot what it's called, but when like you freeze them and then you just plunge down with the Zhao and like you do a bunch of damage. That's the only reason I use Chi-Chi, because you know Zhao needs a lot of health to regain. So that's the only reason I use Chi-Chi, but I don't think there's a buff in the game that can make her like top tier in this game. Razor just needs a buff. He needs more damage. That's all he kind of needs. I think having Raiden would help him. Like Raiden already helps him, but it's just like, you're not using Raiden and Razor, are you? So just needs a buff. If he has the scaling like Eula, I think he'd be good. Amber, Now we're back to Amber. I think Amber is a lost cause. There is just so much wrong with her, right? I think I don't even think a buff would help her. She would just need a whole rework. We need to like scrap her character and build her up new again. I don't think there's anything in this game that could fix her. We just need to design a whole new character to make Amber work. So I think Amber's just a lost cause. I just think we have a better version of Amber, like two better versions of Amber. We have Ganyu, who's a better version of Amber, and we have Yoimiya, who's a better version of Amber. So maybe if you just rework, if you just scrap her all in general, just remove everything she has and just replace her with Ganyu, I guess that works. But she's just a lost cause in my opinion. Sucrose, new DPSs. I feel like does Sucrose even need anything? Maybe a new artifact set, because I don't think she works with every good DPS who needs Animo. So I think she just had some better artifacts. She'd be great. Chowd needs a buff. Not gonna lie. I know Chowd is definitely one of the most used characters in the game, but I think if he just got a buff, just reduce the cooldown, I think he'd be even better. That's the only thing. We just reduce the cooldown for the E because it's locked behind a constellation. I think if we just make it the standard, I think he'd be one of the best characters in the game. But obviously, I don't really see that happening, reducing a cooldown. So we're just going to put he needs a buff. Obviously, he's still one of the best characters in the game. No doubt about that. But I think there's potential if you just reduce the cooldown or just increase his hydro damage, he'd be even better. Venti. Where would I even put Venti? Venti's just fine. Like, he's good. But obviously, he does have some issues in Spiral Abyss. But that's just because of the enemies. Like, the enemies are not movable because Venti has the Vortex. But he's still one of the best characters in the game. So I'm definitely putting he's fine. He doesn't need a buff or artifacts. I think he's good where he is. Xingling, I'd put... Xingling's fine. A great character in this game. Top 10. No, I think I have a top 5 in my opinion. She's definitely a top 5 character. So I think she's fine how she is. Zhao, I think Zhao definitely needs new supports. There's this... Like... Zhao doesn't have any dedicated supports. He got new artifacts, so his damage is looking pretty good. He just needs new supports to help him out because there is like no dedicated supports to Zhao, so Zhao just needs some new supports. Xingqiu, where would I even put Xingqiu? Because Xingqiu is definitely given competition with Yellen. So I think Xingqiu is fine where he is, but I think like in a couple months if we really keep on getting better Hydro characters, I think Xingqiu might need a buff. Or just might need a buff. But he's already super good. I doubt he gets surpassed anytime soon. I personally think Xingqiu is better than Yellen. But in the future, that might not be the case. Alright, Xinyan needs a buff, right? I don't think she's necessarily a lost cause. I think she just needs some extra damage to make her good. I've used her. Her damage is just decent, which it shouldn't be. I think she could be like Eula if she had better scaling, but that's just my opinion. Obviously, being Pyro doesn't help her. I think it's either we lean into the Pyro or we lean into the physical damage. I think that's the only two ways you go with building up, buffing Xinyan. Zhongli, new DPS. I think if Zhongli had a DPS he works greatest alongside with, obviously you have someone like Arasagi Ito, but I feel like if they release a new Geo DPS that needs a Zhongli's pillars a lot more, that like kind of benefits off of it, I think Zhongli would be way better. I think he'd get back into that top 5 category that he used to be in, and he used to be top 3 in some people's opinion. Rosaria, just new DPSs. I made a whole Rosaria video. Go check that out. It was my last video where I pretty much said Rosaria, her only problem is that she's a really good character, but there's just no DPSs that you use her with except for Eula. Right? Eula is her only like good like support, but you need another DPS where Rosaria can really shine. So that's how I feel about Rosaria. Eula, Eula, where would I even put Eula? New supports. I think she already has really good supports. New artifacts. She already does crazy damage. If I was to put her anywhere, definitely needs a buff. More damage. I'd love to see Eula get more damage. I know her damage is already insane, but there is some situations in Spiral Abyss where we have the physical enemies. So we're people who have high physical resistance. So I feel like if you just give Eula extra damage, so when she goes against high like physical resistant enemies, she can like still out damage them. That's my opinion. She definitely needs a buff. She is still like top 20 in my opinion. Probably like 10 through 15. You can watch my last tier list to see where I have her, but definitely can use extra damage in my opinion. How do I forget this lawyer girl? I always forget people's names, and she is one of the few people I forget. The lawyer. I think she needs a buff. Yeah, it just needs a buff. You could say a new artifact set, but I think just buff her damage a little bit more, and she's good. Kazuha's fine. He doesn't need any buffs. Yoimiya. New supports. We obviously have Yu Jin, who like is a great support for her, but maybe just give her some better supports, and she'll be fine. Sayu. What would I even do with Sayu? I can't even think of an artifact set that would help her, because she just needs to be on the screen for so long for you to get like a good use out of her. I think Sayu's just a lost cause. I don't think there's any situation where I'd want to use Sayu over any of these animal characters in the game, in my opinion. So I think Sayu's is kind of a lost cause in my opinion. Raiden, I'd probably put Raiden. Raiden's already pretty good. Just new supports, I guess, or new DPS, whichever way you would want to look at it. Well, I kind of see Raiden as more of a DPS, so I put her. I think she just needs better supports. Pretty much just like more electro characters that she can help out. So I guess she would be a support. Well, she is kind of like a burst sub DPS, so I think she just needs better DPSs so she can like make them better, if you know what I'm saying. Right? Obviously, we have Eula. We have who else is like a really good option for Raiden, like Eula, Xing Lang. No, I'm just gonna put Raiden's fine actually. Raiden's just fine. I can't even think of a situation where you can make Raiden better, so just put Raiden. They're fine. Kuja Sara. Oh my gosh, there's just so many issues with Kuja Sara. She needs a buff. Just fix all her like animation issues and all that, and think she'll be fine. Kokomi. What would you even do with Kokomi? Kokomi is definitely a top 20 character in the game, but I think she does have her issues. So where would I even put her? Just new DPSs that can make her useful. Now look, we got Alloy here. Alloy is definitely a lost cause. Like, I don't even know when we're getting her constellations. I doubt we're ever getting those constellations. She's just gonna forever stay at C0 for the rest of her life. No one uses Alloy. I think she's like the least character used in this game, and she was the first collab character, and I think might be the only collab character that we get from Horizon Zero Dawn. Hopefully we get like an Evangelion collab. That'd be so cool. But you know, Alloy, I don't think anyone will ever use her. So just kind of sucks to see that. She was a disappointment when she was our first collab character. Toma, where would I put Toma? Toma just needs new DPSs in my opinion. He's like such a good shielder, but no one in the game needs shields. So I think we have a DPS who needs shields, I think he'd be really good. Obviously we have Hu Tao, but you know, Toma just needs more DPSs who need shields. Arataka Ito needs new supports. His damage is great. His artifacts are great. He just needs new supports to make him even better, because like the team you can run with Arataka Ito is kind of like a ragtag team who like don't really support Arataka Ito that much. You got Goro, who's like pretty much his only dedicated support. You can use Zhongli, but it's like he's not really helping out Arataka Ito besides is like doing more damage off field. And like I use Ningguang personally, but like Ningguang's just like my sub DPS while his ult is down. Goro, new DPSs. We only have Arataka Ito and Noel for him to like help him out so much, but his kit is just so amazing. One of the best kits in the game. Pretty much just Geo Bennett, but I feel like people don't use him because there's not that many like Geo DPSs in the game except for Arataka Ito and Noel. So I feel like he is often underrated in my opinion, because every time I make a tier list, people's like, you have Goro too high, but he's literally Geo Bennett, and we can all agree Bennett is like a top 3 character in this game. So I think if we just had more Geo characters, he'd shine a lot more. Shenhe, new DPSs. That's how I feel. Shenhe is just a good character, but I think there's just not a lot of situations where you'd use her. Obviously, she's a 5-star, and investing so much in a 5-star DPS, a 5-star support, I mean, is like uncommon. Most people pull for 5-star DPSs instead of 5-star supports, but she still is a good DPS. Why do I keep on calling her DPS? A good support. She just needs other DPSs to make her shine. Yunjin needs new DPSs. Yunjin's a great character who help buffs normal attacks, but like a lot of people don't use normal attacks in this game except for someone like Yoimiya. So I think if you just give Yunjin more DPSs that do more normal attacks, I think she'd be one of the best supports in the game. Yaimiko, does she need artifacts? What artifacts does she use right now? Can't even think of any. Either she needs new artifacts or she needs a buff. Personally, I think she needs a buff. Reduce her cooldown or increase her damage. One of the two. Ayato. What would I even put for Ayato? Ayato's good, but Child is obviously better. I think I would put Ayato as needs a buff. Or he just needs new artifacts. I can't even think what I'd put. I think he needs a buff. I can't think of exactly what you buff him with. No, I think he's fine. I don't think there's really any issues, in my opinion. Or maybe he just needs new supports. I think he's either needs a buff, needs a new artifact. I think he needs a new artifact. I can't think of a situation. No, he needs a buff. I think just give him better damage buff, and I think he's better. Because I feel like Ayato should be doing more damage than Child, but they kind of do the same. And I feel like if you give Ayato more damage, it kind of makes up for Child being the better enabler. That's how I feel. Yellen. Where would I even put Yellen? Yellen's a great character in this game. I think Yellen's fine. I don't think she needs a buff and artifacts. I think she's great in this game. She already has a bunch of DPSs that she works great with. Oh my god, how I forgot her name too. The ninja, right? The ninja, right? I forgot her name. But last time I thought she was an animal because of her green hair, but I forgot. She is Electro. New artifacts. I think if you just give her a new artifact set, I think she'd work good. I just think a lot of the Electro characters need new artifacts to kind of pop off. They either need new artifacts or they just need a buff. One of the two. Fist fighting guy, how do I forget your name too? I would just be forgetting everyone's name in this game. You do good damage, but you're animo, so it's like you're animo and you're doing good damage, and like when you're doing that, you can just use Xiao. So if I was the devs, I just give him more damage. I think if you give him more damage, a lot more people would use him as like a main DPS. In my opinion, I think he is still like a solid character, but more damage would definitely help him out. So that's pretty much where my tier list is at. Let me know who you guys think needs a buff. Who do you think they don't need a buff at all? Who do you think is lost cause? Obviously, my lost causes might be triggering for some people who are watching my videos, because I know we have some Chongun, Amber, Lisa, Chi-Chi, Asayu, and Alloy fans. There is no Alloy fans. I'm just joking about the last one, right? Alloy doesn't have any fans. What are we talking about? No one uses it, right? Obviously, these are like pretty much the people who I can't think of a buff or an artifact set that help them out. So, obviously, this is just my opinion. Let me know who you guys who thinks deserve a buff, who you think guys deserve artifacts, who you guys think needs new supports, who needs new DPSs, or who's just fine. Like, they don't need anything change with them at all. They're just already perfect and a solid character of how they are already. So, this is my opinion. I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of these characters and who needs an improvement or who doesn't need improvement down in the comments. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and can't wait for Sumo to come out. And Sinnoh has just been released once I've been recording this video, and I can't wait to pull him. I might even wail on him because I don't know if I'll reach pity in time. I have 50-50 pity, but I don't know if I'm gonna get pull Sinnoh. So there might be a summoning video where I might actually spend money on Primos, and that'll be a big life changer for me because I've never spent money on Primos. I've only bought like 2 battle passes. But you guys have been supporting me a lot. I've been monetized for a bit, and you guys have probably been making me money enough where I can spend money on these summon videos. So if you guys would like to see a summon video with Sinnoh, let me know down in the comments. And this is all for today, and Axon signing off. Peace.